Good morning everybody, welcome back to the Herefordshire Gardener channel. My name's Aaron. In this video today I'm going to be reviewing the wonderful rose behind me which is towering up the trees. This is Rambling Rector. It's a stunning once flowering rose and I can't wait to share this one with you. I have a couple of them in the garden, both reaching staggering heights. So I'm going to take you through that in just a moment's time. As always, remember, give the video a nice big thumbs up to support the channel. And if you're new here and you're loving the content, then hit the subscribe button so you can join along for future videos. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoy this one. So I thought I'd start the video off here. We're just outside the rose room, which is on our right. And to our left is the newly installed paddock number 3. This is for the alpacas. We've got our second Rambling Rector down there, so I'll take you to that in just a moment's time. But I wanted to start from this particular point in the garden because I've got some footage taken, I think it was only last year, 2024, in the same spot, just to give you an appreciation of the hedges which are now gone on the left of the screen and down the garden in front of the pond. We opened it up. If you've seen my previous videos, you know we've made a lot of changes to the garden from when we arrived. I've kept the rose room hedge into the right, and you know, of course, you've seen videos of the rose room as well, which is looking fabulous at the minute. Rambling Rector is right in front of us at the end of this walkway. So I'm just going to walk you down and put up the video just so you can see the difference really. Got some new cherry trees in here. So hopefully they'll be looking fantastic in years to come. I just love the way now that you can see the pond from this point because the hedges are not blocking it, but also you can just see the garden. It was really important that we opened things up. I think that burgundy cherry that you can see just up front and on the left, that was already planted there, but you know, you can see now we've got lawn where there used to be a lot of hedges, and it just means from the house and the table and chairs you can see the full garden and pond. And of course you can see Rambling Rector. I can see Rambling Rector now from almost every position in the garden, which is amazing. Just look at that rose. That's probably about 30 foot, maybe even more tall. I'll just continue down here and I'll put up the video so you can see the difference. I'm going to try and follow the footsteps that I did in the previous video. And then we'll talk Rambling Rector when we get towards the end of this walkway. So we've got cherry blossoms to the far top left, that's maple crimson king. Got some more silver birch in here, planted them in a group of 3. And just wafting away in the wind. I'm hoping to get a lot more shade in this area of the garden, a bit like you can see Crimson King there. When that canopy gets much bigger in future years, you'll get dappled shade here, which will just make it more bearable to sit out in. So yeah, looking forward to seeing that. And where I've just shown you paddock number 3, which is where the forest garden used to be, I've taken a lot of the plants from down there and repurposed them into what I'm now calling the long border. You'll have to just forgive my neighbour mowing in the background. Hopefully it's not interfering with sound quality too much. So although that looks a bit scruffy at the moment because I've not finished it, I've just been dotting plants in there in a repeating sequence. The hostas are looking beautiful. That fence is our fence, but we also have about 10 to 12 foot behind that, which just contains wild trees, so field maples, cherries, and it's a bit of a nature corridor that wraps around the whole garden, which I love, and it's what's enabled this Rambling Rector to grow as tall as it is because it's provided the structure. So what can I tell you about Rambling Rector other than it's just a fantastic rose. So this one is not a David Austin rose, but they do provide it, as a lot of other rose companies will be selling this one. It's a very old rose. So it was first catalogued, I think, in around about 1912 by Daisy Hill Nurseries in Northern Ireland. and it was rumoured to be a foundling, so not bred by anybody but found in a vicarage garden. It's got small, semi-double, creamy white blooms, and they come out in massive clusters. So I know it's once flowering, but it doesn't half pack a punch when it first comes out. Oh, the scent here is heavenly, absolutely breathtaking. It's got a lovely musky clove scent. Let's just have a look at the blooms. Look at those. I mean, big hands, as I always say. I wouldn't even like to guess how many are on this creamy buds. If you're wondering what all those black things are, those are pollen beetles, and they're highly attracted to this rose just because of its scent. But yeah, that is absolutely gorgeous, and they're born in these massive clusters, and then these clusters literally adorn the entire rose shrub. Just work your way up there. The bees love this as well. You'll see them working the flowers as we go up. Absolutely stunning, guys. This is a wonderful rose. It's almost like a waterfall in this garden, just because there is just so much of it, top to bottom. And the stems, when they sort of come out a little bit like this, higher up, eventually they sort of cascade downwards with the weight of the blooms. And so you get this lovely waterfall effect. If you look in the center of the blooms, if I bring you back to this one again, you've got a wonderful collection of, if we can get this to focus, gorgeous golden stamens there, which I think set off that creaminess that pales to a white as the bloom ages. I wish you could smell this. It's so nice. So Rambling Rector, as the name suggests, is a rambling rose, and it can reach heights, it says on the internet, of up to 30 feet, 25 to 30 feet. This certainly is doing that. Pretty old specimen. The wood in the heart of this shrub, I need to almost step back just so you can see it. Now we've got planes going ahead, but yeah, that's easily 30 foot, no doubt about it, and it's going even higher year on year. Beautiful rose. See if we can get it from a different angle. See, this is one thing I do love about having no hedges in here, because the hedges used to come here, so you only got the top of it, so you didn't see the full effect. But I think now, as I step back, just look at that. Does that not just take your breath away? Still going up. It's taller than even those birch trees. Absolutely gorgeous. I just love this rose. And another great thing about Rambling Rector is every single one of those flowers that we've just seen will turn into a very small rose hip in the autumn, which is the most delicious ruby red colour, and the birds go mad for these. Packed full of vitamin C, so really good for their immune system, and that just provides a bit of autumn and winter food for the foraging birds. And it looks amazing when the you can imagine everywhere where there's white and cream at the minute, you get a little jewel that appears, so it takes on a completely different appearance. Although this rose is quite an old rose, it did actually receive the RHS Award of Merit in 1993, rightfully so, because I think it deserves a place in every garden if you have the space. You do need space for this rose. Grow it up a fence or grow it up a tree. Trees are better in my opinion, because those arching stems, they just hook on, and it just, you know, I've put zero support into this rose. We're very lucky that it was here when we arrived, as was the other one that I'm about to show you. But that scent, honestly, the most powerful musky clove scent, it just carries on this wind. You can smell this from the house, you can smell it from the rose room, and you can see it from all areas of the garden now. Now we've taken the hedges out. And don't get me wrong, the hedges, they were beautiful, but they took a lot of maintenance. I think the previous owners perhaps maybe didn't work like me and my partner. And so we've had to make the garden work for us. But you know, having removed the hedges, we've put in loads more trees, and really interesting trees as well. We've got cherries, we've got katsura or toffee apple trees. I've got another tilia in here, which is a lime tree. I've got a big one down the bottom, and that smells incredible in July. Got the autumn blaze maples, magnolias, witch hazels, hibiscus, more cherries. I've got a ginkgo biloba there. So there's a lot of interest. I've not just returned it all back to grass. And we essentially just prepared the ground and then put seed where the hedges were. You can just about, if you look very carefully, see where the hedges used to be. That's the kitchen garden, if you're wondering, orientating yourself. That's where I've got a lot of my rose cuttings and roses in pots. That's going to be a renovation project for later this year and next year. That's the house. I did a lovely video last night, sat at that table with a glass of wine, just going through a load of cut roses. If you haven't watched that, I would recommend. It was a really, really nice video. And then of course you can see that's the rose room, all that, and it goes back, and then the alpaca barn is in the corner. That's paddock 2, and then that's paddock 3. And then of course we've got the pond. I think I've started some of my videos off on that bench before. But isn't it so nice that you can just see it all now? You know, before, as you can see from the new grass, this was a 5-6 foot hedge with a tiny little opening, so you couldn't really see the pond unless you came down to it, which is nice in a way, because it then holds a bit of a secret and a bit of a wow factor because you don't expect it. But I think what I found in this garden for the first 12 to 18 months is we just weren't visiting, with it being so large, the different areas and appreciating them. It just felt like we were always mowing the grass in there, but never really fully experiencing the space. So that was one of the deciding factors for removing the hedges, but I couldn't be happy, honestly. I think it looks incredible to consider that it's only been 12 months and we've got it looking this good already. It actually has gone beyond my expectations, my original expectations. That's a peri pear tree there. We've got 5 of them on the property. Wonderful trees, they're loaded with fruit this year. Actually, that's a good link to the next part of the video, because the other rambling rector is down here, and it's growing at the back of the garden border, but it's also growing up one of the peri pear trees, and I think it's even taller than the one that we've just seen, although it is combined with another rambling rose known as Paul's Himalayan musk. I'm going to do a separate video on that because we have quite a lot of Paul's Himalayan musk on the lower border of the garden. So that's paddock 2 in front of us, paddock 3 to our right, and a little glimpse of the rose room in there. You can see the rose cage. It was important that, you know, the vista from the rose cage looked down through here into paddock 3. And so of course this is recently been seeded, so we put a load of new seed down here. This was completely full of shrubs this time last year, really high. You can see how high they were from this tree here, and so you couldn't really appreciate the large trees. You just saw the tops again, like a lot of the other trees in the garden. But we've had it all removed out. As I said, I've repurposed as much of it as I could in the long border, and it's all been reseeded. So this also had hedges coming up here all the way down to the very end. Same here. They came all the way up and then sort of arched around and then went all the way down with a few openings. So now, with those gone, you know, we wanted a paddock number 3 for the alpacas, so they've got more grazing space. And I just think this is lovely because of the trees. They'll get shade from the sun. This is what I kind of want the centre of the garden to look like once the trees grow. Just nice areas of shade, so you can go and sit if you want under a tree with a cup of tea and a book. Right, let's go on in and we'll have a look at my second rambling rector. So as I said, the seed went down about 2.5 weeks ago in here, in these sections. You can kind of roughly see where it were. And that's come through tremendously quick. It's going to be ready for a mow, I should imagine, in maybe a couple of weeks' time. And I think then when it all blends in, it will look ultra smart. And then I think we'll let the alpacas in. I'll try and film that actually. It'd be really nice to see their reaction to this large space. You know, paddock 2 extends up to their barn and paddock 1 is parallel to our driveway, but I think this is probably the biggest out of the 3. And with all the trees, it holds the most interest with the shade, etc. We installed another one of those reclaimed tree skirt benches, which we painted an antique cream, and the grass is growing through that. I don't think it'll hurt though. It'd be quite nice to sit down here again when the alpacas are here. I'll just take a seat like this. You get a lovely view of the peri pear tree. We've got a spruce pine above us, which just goes up and up and up and up. It's massive, probably about 80 to 100 feet plus. Lovely pin oaks over there. We've got another one of those toffee apple katsura trees, some more willows, and of course we've got another weeping willow here. It's one of 2. The other one's over in paddock number 2, and that's the one you always see at the end of the rose room when I'm in there. A few more tree specimens in here. A mahonia tree just there, multi-stemmed, and another peri pear at the back. And of course you can see Rambling Rector number 2. The scent down here, honestly, this rose just carries so well in the air. It is super, super pretty. And I've left this as a border. The alpacas won't touch it. Number 1, the stems are thorny. And number 2, they've got enough vegetation. They don't seem to bother any of my trees or shrubs. Obviously with livestock, you've just got to make sure that what you've got is not toxic. For example, we'd never have a rhododendron down here, or foxgloves, etc. And if you do see chance seedlings, I just pull them up. Foxgloves, that is. Here we go. So this is actually mixed in with Paul's Himalayan musk. Gosh, the closer I get to this, the more intense the scent gets. But as you can see, exactly the same as the one that we've just seen. Beautiful creamy white and golden stamens. There's probably about 30 blooms, doubles per cluster, and thousands of clusters on this one shrub. That's the lower border of the property, which is at the back of the pond, and again we've got that nature corridor. We have another 12 foot at the other side, and it's just nice, a bit of privacy. There are rolling hills over the back, but it's just nice. It gives us the privacy that we like down here. Yeah, if you look, that's Rambling Rector there, but if I then take you around this side, I can't remember the name of that purple leaf tree, I just know it's beautiful. But the peri pear, you can see the base of it just there. If I pan the camera up very carefully, you can see Paul's Himalayan musk and Rambling Rector going right up that tree, all the way to the top. It's still opening up there. I think the way the shade is on that tree, you can't actually fully appreciate the blooms, but just trust me, it's completely covered. If I take you around here, and we'll look at it from the other side, and a lot of this was lost in this massive forest garden that was down here with all the shrubs. You again just saw the tops of the roses, but since removing it all, moving it to a better location, now you can truly appreciate the scale of this rose. Just look, that's Rambling Rector and Paul's Himalayan musk. Again, going up to about 25 feet there. I say, yeah, about 25 feet, 22 to 25 feet just in that section. I'll take you a bit closer. Look at the colour combinations there with this beautiful tree. Paul's Himalayan musk is more of a soft pink colour, but as the name suggests, it's got a lovely musk smell. Look at all the pollen beetles in there. They always go to highly scented flowers. Let's just get this to focus. That's just another day in the office for a pollen beetle. I could sit and watch them all day. They're beautiful. And as these blooms fade, the petals drop, and then the hips will develop in here. And as I said earlier, these are beautiful ruby red hips. Reasonable size, big enough that you can see them from a distance. And en masse, they just look incredible. And I just let this rose continue to ramble. It's actually going over into my pin oak tree, and that's Rambling Rector and Paul's Himalayan musk. I just feel like I'm super small in this area of the garden, and these are just giants enveloping me in the most wonderful scent. It really is heavenly. I actually think that I'm going to take cuttings of this Rambling Rector and just grow it all the way around the perimeter of the property. And the foliage on it as well is lovely. It's a dark semi-gloss, quite elongated leaves, usually about 6 or 7 per leaflet. And the stems, as I said, they do have these thorns, but I think the thorns help it to ramble because they catch on things, as you can see up on that branch there. And it just anchors it, and then it sort of forms a meshwork. I don't know if you can see, perhaps we can zoom in there, of old stems deep down in that it builds new growth on. I never ever prune these, ever. I just let them do their own thing. They look nice with the elderflower as well. That elderflower, by the way, will need to be cut back and cut out because elderberries are toxic to livestock, or certainly toxic to alpacas. Look, we're even going all the way back there. I wish you could smell this. It smells wonderful. Yeah, if I can take cuttings of this, which I think will be relatively easy because it's quite a hardy rose, I think it would root no problem at all. Imagine this just surrounding with Paul's Himalayan musk mixed together as they are here, around the entire border of the property. The scent alone would be next level. It'd be much more intense than it is at the minute, and it's intense already. And just a massive spectacle to look forward to in June every year, like I do with these. I think the Paul's Himalayan musk, you get more of a rosette flower. I'm going to try not to review it in this video. And you get that blush pink in there, but it's sort of similar to Rambling Rector in the sense that you get a cluster. But I guess the difference with Paul's Himalayan musk, other than the colour and the number of petals, is the flowers tend to be held sort of separately. There's a longer stalk for each one, so they stand out on their own, whereas Rambling Rector, the flowers kind of overlap one another. So yeah, there's just a slight difference there. Look, if you look at Paul's Himalayan musk again, the flowers are on longer stems. Beautiful. Fragrance on this is divine. You don't even really need to come up close to smell them, but when you do, it's even more intense. If I smell this Rambling Rector. So there you go. That is Rambling Rector. I don't think you need to buy this from the David Austin website, in my opinion. If you are going to buy it, I don't see personally the need to pay a high price for something that wasn't even bred or introduced by them. It's not patented, it's fair game for anybody. It's such an old rose, and as I mentioned earlier, rumoured to be a foundling in a garden, so that just means somebody's seen it one day. It's probably been crossed between 2 roses randomly with the bees, and then a seed has dropped, and this rose has grown. So there's been no breeder that we know of that has specifically bred this rose, so it's always been anybody's fair game. But yeah, going back to that point, you can pick this rose up a lot cheaper from other online suppliers or garden centres. I don't think you should be paying a heavy price for it, with it not being having all of those sort of years of work put into it. Just a little tip: if you are going to buy one of these, then perhaps go to your local garden centre or just have a shop around online. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, please do give the video a like if you are enjoying the content. It's always surprising how many views the videos get, and lovely comments from so many of you, which I always love reading. I'm doing my best to get back to as many of those as possible. But I think a lot of people watch the videos perhaps and don't give it a thumbs up, or don't subscribe to the channel, and that's fine if you don't want to. But if you do, and maybe you're forgetting, then just a little reminder. It really will make the difference to the channel and just help it to grow. So Rambling Rector, beautiful. Hope you've enjoyed. Thanks again for watching. Take care.